I would definitely. I am fired the fuck up. Let's go, man.
Let's go.
That graphic appropriately sums up my emotions. And the only thing that's throwing a little bit of cold water on my Rams boner is McVay's kind of general approach to aggressiveness. But you know what? He's got a good read on this game, and having Murray deep in his own end zone with the nerves that are pulsing throughout his body has been a good strategy so far. I would like a little more aggressiveness in the third quarter, though. Put this game on ice. What do you think?
I think you'll see it, because maybe one of my better calls of the year was when the Rams looked really, really shitty in the first half versus the Lions, was it? And then I bet them. I said, I'm going to bet them second half next game against like Texans or somebody horrible. I'm like, they can't do that twice in a row. Like McVay's not the greatest coach, but he learns his lesson really recently. And yeah, I would think what happened to the Rams last week is still probably pretty fresh. And knowing that you can't pull some shit like that again, although I really don't think it matters. Like, honestly, like I'm not going to allow you to give analysis. I won't let you. Because anything you say would be absolutely wrong.
Shaded, yeah.
Well, no.
Because I've been watching tennis. Is that why?
Yeah, that too. Honestly, I've been watching basketball. Okay. the only thing that you can say about this entire game, and almost nothing else matters. The Rams are playing just fine. Actually, at moments, both defenses have been playing good. Kyler Murray is not ready for this moment. He looks the entire crux of this game has been Kyler Murray happy footing, Kyler Murray not feeling pressure, Kyler Murray throwing the ball into the ground, Kyler Murray throwing the ball into the arms of other players, Kyler Murray rushing passes on nice little screen passes that end up as interceptions. Like the entire handicap from this first half is Kyler Murray is playing about as bad as he can. My only thought from this game is, and I'm with you, I'd like to see the aggressiveness stay up. I'd like this to be like 42-3, because if I'm right, and I feel like I am, like it would create an overvalued Rams team next week. And the whole basis of it would be they got to play a quarterback who wasn't ready for a playoff game. If you can get the Rams overvalued in the exact opposite situation, literally you could not find them. I mean, is there anyone who's played more playoff games? There can't be.
Is that a joke?
From a quarterback?
I think he might have. He may have lapped the field.
I think he might be. I think from second to first might be doubles. Yes. So
I would be
literally you cannot get a more polar opposite quarterback situation. So I'm not saying like Tampa's going to come out and blow them away, but you might be creating some value on Tampa, Kyler. And boy, and I don't want to let Cliff off the hook either. Like the play calling needs to be better, but this is a game I probably won't watch the second half of. So I'll let you bet it.
Well, I mean,
Rams catching half a point.
Oh, wow. They're catching a half point. Oh, man. I kind of want to take that, I guess. I mean, let's talk about what happens in the second half here. So the Rams get the ball first. The Rams are using a very run-heavy approach in this game. They are intent on really inflicting their will. The broadcast going above and beyond after 2 1-yard red zone runs in a row saying, I really like McVay sticking with the run. Like in that moment, like you can have that opinion if you want after some other more successful plays, but after 2 absolutely into a wall 1-yard runs in the red zone, I don't say that on the broadcast. Ultimately, without a couple of penalties, without a couple of drops, the Rams are ahead by 3, by 5 touchdowns probably in this one, realistically. But I think the Rams get the ball first. They put together a decent drive offensively. They use whatever else they had in their bag of tricks that they want to work on that should be good against this, this Cardinals secondary. Realistically, more Odell Beckham Jr. targets, fine with me.
Yeah,
that guy's getting wide open and
he's
making
got the gas tonight.
he looks great tonight. And
that touchdown to him,
yeah.
I mean, that's the ball that they failed to use in Cleveland in the latter part of his New York career. Like, he's not like 6'8". He's not some ridiculous monstrosity who just is gonna out tall people. But on those one-on-one contested balls and spots like that, like, that's beautiful for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everybody thinks about the one play that he made, many, many years ago, but like that's the perfect usage for him in those spots. And I don't see why Cleveland wasn't able to get more out of this guy. Like, again, he's never going to have seasons unless you force feed him and you make a point of it. He's never going to have seasons like he did 5, 6, 7 years ago when he was really on top of it, but he can still be a pretty big contributor to an offense if you can use him right. So yeah, I'd like to see if I'm McVay, I'm using the shit out of OBJ in the second half. I don't know if you want to make a play on this, make a play. I don't think the second half is bettable. To tell you the truth,
total over. It's gonna be what, 13?
It depends, like how aggressive do they get when they get in the red zone?
Well, honestly, like if you're playing the team total over, your non-trivial percentage of your points you're expecting are created by the defense. Or really short fields, and the Rams don't generally take foot off throat. They could let the Cardinals
just the one
back
time
into
last
it.
Week.
Just the one time last week.
Well, and
that was a different stakes. Yeah.
To be fair, a lot of that wasn't taking the foot off the throat. A lot of that was
Jimmy G with a good hand all of a sudden could play. Yeah.
The opposite too. Stafford playing very poorly.
Sure.
Like, Stafford came out and played poorly in that second half. So I think the run heavy approach, like, and if I'm McVay, I look at that and I say, hey, how did we screw this up last week? Oh yeah, it was that asshole quarterback I got from Detroit. So the fact that apparently Cam Akers is drank from the cup of Christ and is completely
was electric.
Yeah, he's
every time he is running amok in open field, it's like
he got the fountain of youth water or whatever. Yeah. Like he drank concussion water straight out of the Holy Grail. Like, he's fine. He was going to be on a snap. Remember concussion water? He was going to be on like a snap count. The guy's like the lead back now. And like, people bet his unders and they're mad. Yeah. So congrats if you have some Akers in your DFS lineups. I do, but I went 4-2 Arizona, so it's not going to work out. The only thing for me is I need, again, and this stinks for me, Sony Michel and Christian Kirk, about 7 or 8 combined fantasy points in the second half. I'll pay attention to that. DFS. I'd like to beat DB in our home league here.
Okay. Well, good luck to you there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, man.
I mean,
should I take a Cardinals?
Save your dollars and bet Buffalo next week.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm with you. I don't really have an opinion. This seems fair. 23. That puts the final score in the 44 range. It feels a little low. Should probably be like 46 and a half ish.
I think, and the total's
a little low.
The total probably hinges on what is Arizona able to do with garbage, and basically the Rams need one of their drives to not stall and turn into a 26-yard field goal.
I mean, the Rams gave garbage time points up to Davis Mills, so
should we just take let's take a fun over.
Over 23?
Very small bet.
Very small bet. Over 23.
Just to have
putting our undefeated weekend on the line here. Association, by the way, was not good for me today. Oof. NBA, not good.
I think I'm going to do okay here. Wyoming +2 is coming in for a landing. They just won by 10.
Cool. Cowboys. Cowboys won by 10?
Yeah.
How about them Cowboys? Hey, well, it's the Norfolk State.
It was weird. I think that game got canceled, didn't it?
Oh, did it?
Norfolk State, they were
Maryland,
just missing
Eastern
players.
Shore?
I think they were just missing players. I stayed away from that one today. Norfolk State beat the tar out of them, it looks like.
Yeah.
They're a good team.
Nice.
But yeah, Wyoming was a weird one, and I don't handicap based on records. I often don't know the team's records when I'm doing things.
Yeah.
But Wyoming 12-2 heading to Nevada, and we're a slight underdog. Won both halves. Good for them.
So Norfolk definitely covered, right? I want to give my guy an attaboy.
Norfolk was they won by like 18.
Okay, nice.
Oh yeah, and this is why I don't watch these games. I had an under 41.5, under 141.5 in Sacred Heart, Central Connecticut. And I don't know, Dan showed me that thing from the ESPN box score where it shows the play-by-play, and there were a bajillion points in the last minute, including a missed. It went under by 1.5 with a missed 3, like right at the end. So this is why you don't watch these games.
I would much rather bet that Mara is going to F up the GM and coaching hire. He didn't even really seem to fully embrace and understand that Joe Judge wasn't the right pick ultimately.
So, and who rank them most likely? And this is something we won't be able to judge for several years. Minnesota, Chicago, New York. I think New York's 3rd out of 3. So basically,
what's the question again? Who's the most likely to get it right?
Yeah, GM and coach. When we sit here in 2 years, it's 2024. Playoffs are happening. Who are we most happy about with the GM and the coaching hire? Minnesota, Chicago, New York. Rank them.
Minnesota won margin, Chicago, and then New York.
Is there margin between Chicago and New York, though?
No. Minnesota number 1, a big margin, and then 2, Chicago, 3, New York.
I think they might hire this woman from Philly. The Canadian. I can't think of her name now.
She's which team?
Oh, Minnesota. They're interviewing her.
Fuck yeah.
And then I'd like that. If I were wish listing, because I don't give a shit about like all the other teams and what they're doing. But if I were a Minnesota Vikings fan again, which won't happen, I would get her and I would get Kellen Moore. I don't know if Kellen Moore's good or not, but I'd treat him like who is it? Rosen. What the Cardinals did with Rosen. Like seriously.
I mean, you know who my
we're gonna hire you.
Head coach is.
We're gonna hire you, but if you're bad right away, we're just gonna move on right away. Fuck you.
You don't pick the OC from this AFC Championship game this weekend?
I don't know if it's a desirable job. I think it might be, but it's
a really, really good organization, and you get a fresh start with a new GM, which is huge.
Is it the most desirable job? I think
Minnesota
Chicago's.
Forget about assets. Forget about what you have to work with.
Yeah.
Because you don't really want to walk into a job that has enough pieces that you're surprised good the first year, and then expectations are too high. You kind of want to walk into a job that is a fresh start with a good GM and an ownership group that is hands-off-ish but smart and willing to put money into the small things. And Minnesota is exactly that. I mean, Minnesota really is the dream destination for a lot of things.
I mean, just
living life, but other
everything else. It's beautiful here. Dable in Minnesota would be that's the actual dream. I'm from Minnesota. I don't expect nice things. So you choose like your third option. It's like you don't ask the prettiest girl to prom because you ask Kellen Moore because you don't want to get your heart broken by. I
don't know. There's Kellen Moore. There's a decent chance he's damaged goods with all the infighting, backstabbing,
and that's the thing. Like you don't know,
people with their hands in the pots. There,
Kellen Moore.
He might be like, he might be spun.
He might be the best possible coach. He might be a Hall of Fame coach, and we would have no idea because there's so many cooks in that kitchen down there. We see glimpses of it. That's why I think he might be. There's a decent chance he stinks, and he's the reason for some of the bad stuff. But there's so many pieces of input, and Jerry's one of them. That's a problem. But we forgot to mention the Raiders. Now, they haven't gotten rid of. They haven't gotten rid of. But no.
Yeah, there's no coach vacancy yet.
There's not a coach vacancy per se. But I mean, I think it's kind of going without saying that it's semi-open. So that's kind of a GM coaching spot too. And I think being a playoff team, Carr's in a weird part of his contract, but the defense is young-ish in parts, and you've got some young good pieces. Yeah, Harbaugh to the Raiders. If Harbaugh goes to the league, that feels like the spot. I don't know if he does.
So Derek Carr is a lame duck heading into next season. getting paid $19 million, so he's on a very team-friendly price point given his production. Entering the final year of his deal, you probably walk in there. I guess how many I saw enough out of Derek Carr this year to be interested in building around him, particularly considering that they deconstructed the offensive line in front of him. He had a coach that got fired early in the season. He lost his wide receiver 1 to a vehicle homicide, and he still got his team to the playoffs in an extremely difficult division and conference. And I would say, in general, the building around Carr, you're going to get like a Phillip Rivers late career kind of bunch of playoff opportunities with him. I don't know if it's Super Bowl, but he certainly is a guy that I'm more interested in building around today than I was at the beginning of the season. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm there, but it kind of goes back to the point you made about Minnesota, Chicago, New York. Like, it does turn into a weird spot where what are expectations immediately? This is a playoff team, like your expectations are to continue that, and it does create a kind of a tough spot to begin with. I don't think it's a super desirable job in that sense. If you want to live in Vegas, that's pretty fun, though. Somebody's bringing up Trevor Lawrence and Etienne. Like, the Jaguars are a mess, but man, to be able to start with a really high-end young quarterback
QB
like that and another high-end pick right off the bat, like every game or every one of these spots definitely has pros and cons, just like anything in life. But the Jags dealing with that management, dealing with who is that GM? I can't think of his name now.
Trent
Baalke, Khan, and the rest of that. The chuckle fucks down there. I don't like that, but it's a good roster. It's a bad roster, but it's a good startup roster. Plus, the expectations are super low. I think the same thing goes with the Texans. Expectations are super low, and you might have a quarterback and a bunch of capital once you finally trade Watson. I think the Giants are maybe the worst job opening.
Yeah, I mean, like we're not even really talking about some of the other negatives of working in New York, which is the media spotlight. The churn has been bad. The ownership group doesn't really seem to have a good vision. It's and it's a and on top of all that, the cupboard is bare, but they think they have good players.
This is the problem with the Raiders too, with the expectations.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
They won 4 games in overtime.
They were really really incredible in overtime.
Yeah, they were not probably not as good of a team as their record showed. So if your expectations are there and the team isn't actually that good, you're starting behind to use a football term, you're starting behind the sticks to begin with, which stinks. So I think the Raiders and the Giants are probably not desirable jobs if you're taking one. It's tough to turn down one of these jobs.
Yeah,
somebody brought that up in a comment on Twitter. I said, when they got rid of, or he retired, when Gettleman retired, and then all of a sudden 3 days later they did fire Joe Judge. I'm like, is this a case where they made some calls and everybody's like, I'm interested, but I'm not sure I'm flying in if you as management are dead serious on keeping Judge? And somebody said that in the comments. He said, nobody's turning down a GM job. There's only 32 of them. I'm like, yeah, but there's like 3 open. And if they're getting serious calls, I think they have a little bit of leverage. And a lot of these guys are sitting in assistant GM spots, which is a really cushy job if you come down and think of it. An assistant GM gets none of the press. You get no blame whatsoever. It's a well-paid job, but you don't have to take the brunt of it. Your boss takes all the brunt, and you're always like, as soon as one of your teams is good, suddenly, you have 2 good drafts in a row. Suddenly you're getting hired elsewhere. Like those guys are in spots where they don't have to be picky. I don't think anyone said like, fuck you, Mara, I'm not coming there with Joe Judge there. I think people probably just said like, are you guys married to Joe Judge? I'd love to come in for some interviews. And after like 3 people said that, the Maras probably looked at themselves and called up Rooney and Kate and said, hey, we're getting rid of Judge. He's gone. He's done.
Yeah. While you were talking, and I agree with all your takes, OBJ he dropped a dime. He does have more passing yards than Kyler Murray, which is absolutely amazing. Love that.
I wonder if that counts towards Heck's bet. He made a bet on the total passing yards.
Oh, for both teams? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
combined passing yards.
The teams, we didn't even go to team stats, but the Arizona Cardinals had negative yards for a lot of this game, and they are currently at 40.
Kyler's brain, body, and bowels are broken right now.
Yeah. That was a great pass and great play. Beckham to Cam Akers. So fucking cool. Yeah, McVay has not done a great job of in-game managing his timeouts and challenges as far as assets go. Although the two challenges he got, one of them was correct and it got them a touchdown. The other one was correct and it got them a touchdown. So he ended up with some pretty decent. What was the bagel from you guys? She bageled or she got bageled? I wasn't even watching that one. Oh yeah, 6360. Yeah, good job, Ega. Dart's a kind of a tough out, so that was the one. That was when I was a little teeny weeny bit concerned about that.
This was the tweet of the afternoon, Rafael just and Big Cat nailed it. He's like, I love it when Ravel gets put into a corner, and then he spends 3 hours in the comments arguing semantics. Like
he lives for that.
Yeah, he does live for that. It's crazy.
Real quick, playoff game started for all players. Tom Brady is number 1 with 46. Number 2, Jerry Rice with 29.
So not quite doubled.
Not quite double.
But he could have 3 more here.
He could. And the number 2, nice touchdown for Cooper Kupp. The number 2 quarterback playoff starts is who, Andy?
Quarterback playoff starts. Aikman would have played
Aikman.
A bunch.
Aikman had a lot of buys, probably.
Had a lot of buys.
He also didn't have a very long career, if you really break it down.
No, he really only played for like 7 or 8 years, it feels like.
Really good. That was a really good catch by Kupp.
Jim Kelly's a good guess. They had a lot of buys, so. Tell me, give me a decade.
It's Peyton Manning. it's Peyton. He's got.
I didn't want to guess him right away. I felt like he had too many buys.
He did have a lot of buys. Number 1 is Brady. Number 2 is Peyton. Number 3 is Favre. You want to guess who the number 5 all time? Okay, so we went Brady, Jerry Rice, Peyton Manning is the number 3.
Yep.
Of leaders of games of playoff games played. Favre is tied for 4th with a defensive player that I would love for you to guess. It's gonna take a lot of guesses. His time in the NFL is 2010 through current.
Is it Miller?
Nope.
I feel like he played a bunch for those Broncos teams back, but he hasn't played a playoff game in like 5 years.
This guy's played in 24 playoff games in his career, and he is still active. His most recent was this weekend.
Is he a Patriot?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Probably a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm back and forth between 2 here. Vinny Wilfork, I love that. Vinny Wilfork is grilling Dan. He's eating ribs. Is it one of the twins?
It is, yeah, Devin McCourty. Everybody in the chat got it with the clues. Devin McCourty has started 24 playoff
Matthew
games.
Slater, not a bad guess. I don't think he's
Joe Montana has 23. Ben Roethlisberger has 23. Gronkowski has 21.
Ben Roethlisberger got to add 1 to that tab this year. That's funny. So
amazing.
All right.
Let's wrap this. Let's bottle more of your what to do, future team building stuff for the pod that we do in between the championship games and the Super Bowl. We will go through all the teams that are not in the Super Bowl, as is tradition, as one does, and we will talk through how teams are set up to succeed or fail in the future.
And do we have a guest for Wednesday?
We do. I got to double confirm though, because I had talked to this last week, so I'll double back and make sure.
I think we have a pretty fun guest, a deep dive newbie.
Virgin. Yeah. Deep divergent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Steven, shoot me a DM and let me know
Same season.
how to get involved in that. Like, I'll jump in there and definitely tell people who ask because I don't know what it is. Okay. Sign collectibles. You got to roll over Rafa.
Yeah.
Don't play the quarter price. Don't play the outright price. The market is way behind on this in game by game. Rafa versus Zverev, probably Zverev minus 150, maybe minus 180. It's going to be in that ballpark. Zverev doesn't have a ton of pedigree against Rafa, particularly on a fast hard court like this. So it's going to be tough for the market to price. But you're going to get Rafa at a dog price in that quarterfinal.
I think you might even be short at 180.
You think?
After these next few matches are played, minus 200.
What do you think is Zverev's form?
What are you going to do? Like, I can never get a read on him. It seems as if he's playing well, and then you end up with the match he has in every slam event where it's like, oh, his brain broke again. He went Kyler Murray on it. How does one find the Discord chat? I don't know. I haven't found it well.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out by Wednesday. We'll let people know. If we can, if somebody could, Steven, maybe put it in the comments below this video on YouTube, and then people could go find it.
Oh, that's a great call.
Put a link in the comments.
That's very cool very cool that you guys.
And then I'll find it.
Yeah, same. Hey, real quick. We got competition, man. PFF's doing a betting stream. Spanky's doing a Spaces. Rob's Pizza's doing a pizza party.
Nice for them to finally catch up.
There are a lot of people coming for our territory here in the halftime show, which is why we got to get some budget and get some graphics and get some big time splashy. Like we are spending money. Don't
like this
kind of graphic.
I will play that.
I love it.
We're gonna play that like 5 times on Wednesday. I love it.
I love it.
Kudos to producer Dan for making my favorite thing.
It will make me laugh, even if the Bills are getting their brains beaten in next Sunday. If you play that, I will have a good laugh at halftime.
Chills.
All right, man. Hey, enjoy the rest of this game. Let's get a couple more points and let's catch up on Wednesday. Sound good?
Sounds good.